Hey, did you hear about the PS5 exclusive game Godfall and want to try it?
But you don't actually own PlayStation 5?
Well, now you can sort of play Godfall Challenger Edition, which is free now on the Epic Games Store. But we have to tell you, it's not exactly what you think. But let's start with, what type of game is this?
This is an action RPG that is focused on the action part. It might look like Dark Souls or this sort of thing, but it's actually more like Diablo. This is like real slashing and more, I would say, mindless slashing RPG. There are some RPG elements. You can add points to skills. You get a lot of loot. You can upgrade your weapons, equip a lot of different things, but it's all about slashing. And especially in this game, there's no story, anything. There's just slashing in challenges.
Well, that's an important thing, because in the base game, there is a story, there's a long single-player campaign, but the difference between Challenger Edition and the base game, it's not like the complete edition of the base game, it is just the in-game content of the original game Godfall. So like, you know when you finish a big open world game but you still go around like trying to get more loot and to do some extra challenges and side quests? It's basically that and only that. So you start completely leveled up to the max, to level 50, and then you get some extra challenges like what you see behind us that is probably best after you finish the base game, but this is an opportunity to try it and see if you like the gameplay before buying the whole game. So that's an important difference.
Well, to be fair, at the beginning you get some short cutscene and a fast tutorial as for the story, but these are just challenges, so story is not important here. And the visual is probably the best thing about it, even though I don't find it as special. I guess more of the effects and all the swinging and all the colorful visual is nice, but I don't find it that fascinating. Like it needs to be for PlayStation 5.
I mean, I find it nice because there is a lot of detail. It's very shiny.
Shiny, yes.
There is a lot of detail, but it seems kind of overdone. It's almost like, here, look at how many shiny things we can add, we can put in the screen at one time. So it feels a bit over the top.
And actually going into battle, because of all the effects, it's kind of messy where you are and all the enemies coming at you. It is messy.
Yeah. Well, but the most important thing about this game is the gameplay, and as Mikhail said, it's a lot of it is just running around pretty linear worlds, killing everything in your path. Especially true of the Challenger Edition. You are just hacking and slashing everything that moves. There are some combos, there are new skills that you can learn, but it could feel a lot like a button smasher at a certain point, especially some of the lower level enemies that you can just keep hitting and stunning and keep hitting. One thing that I was impressed by is the amount of variety of upgrades, a pretty diverse skill tree, lots of different types of weapons, lots of ways that you can augment those weapons. So I think for people who like the base game and want to continue it, there's a lot of things to try to progress your character.
And I think this is important to say, because when you hear you're gonna level up 50 just instantly, you would think you cannot upgrade anything else, but the opposite is true. You can still get a lot of items and loot more, even though this is the end game, basically. So let's go to, should you play this Challenger Edition?
But first, you should know that this game is free on the Epic Games Store for the week of December 11th. If you claim it, you keep it forever. And every week, we cover the free games in the Epic Games Store. So if you want to make sure you don't miss any of them, please subscribe and you should click that notification bell, because daily Christmas games are coming for free and you might like some notifications about them. But should you play Godfall Challenger Edition? Would you like to go first?
Yeah. I think this is a decent slashing experience if you like really mindless, because this is a Challenger Edition, so mindless grinding and I'm not so much of a fan of like overpowered enemies with this bar that you have to cut them 50 times until they die, and you it makes sense. You feel like a god. It's Godfall. You're level 50, and I kind of lack of some reason to play it actually. So even though it's shiny, it's pretty, I prefer gameplay, which there is the action part, but I prefer more to a gameplay than this. So I would rather this game to be less shiny and more for the gameplay than as it is. So I'm going to say no.
You know, something I didn't mention until now is that this game wants to be God of War so damn much. Like, I completed God of War on the PlayStation, and there were so many moments, even just in the few hours of playing this, that are like, okay, that's from God of War, that's from God of War.
So you mean the new God of War on PlayStation 4?
Yeah. It wants to be, you know, kind of a recreation of the God of War formula. And I can't tell you specifically anything that is like the main difference that makes this less. But it's like if someone tried to copy the Mona Lisa, and it's a pretty good copy, but to make it look different, they put like a hat, just a different hat on it. It's
Mona Lisa has no hat. But anyways.
No, a hat. Yeah, it's just does not feel the same. And even though everything is like well brought over from an excellent game like God of War, it just doesn't have the same soul to it. It doesn't have the same life. So I'm still tempted to say yes because it's free and it's you know, part of a big AAA game. It's a PS5 exclusive. It's the next generation. But considering the size of the hard drive that it takes,
30 gigabytes.
30 gigabytes, considering that you need a pretty well-performing PC to be able to run it.
Actually, that's not true. We tried it on the laptop, and if you put everything on low settings, even on non-gaming laptop, we were able to run it. I wouldn't say play it smooth.
Of course, then it looks like a PS2 game.
Yeah.
And you said the best thing about it is the visuals. So
I
of this considered, maybe it's if you were really curious about Godfall, this would be worth trying for free before buying the full game. But otherwise, there are so many other games that are more engaging. So I'm going to say no as well.
I think we missed one very important point, and the fact that we never played Godfall the original.
That's correct.
And the second, we played it solo. And this is actually a co-op experience. So with if you have friends up to 2 players, you could enjoy this a lot more than us, especially if you have friends, because this game cannot be played without friends. You cannot play it with just strangers. You need to become friends first, and then you can play it with friends. But it's a strange system, but that's how it is.
Even then, I feel like the action comes off as superficial enough that, as you said, it's just a lot of hacking and slashing.
Yeah, I mean, with the friends, it can entertain you for an hour or two, but since it's challenges and you're gonna go through the same places but with the different enemies, there's not like a lot of variety in that.
Well, you should still claim it and add it to your Epic Games library, because then you keep it forever. Why not? And stick with us and you'll get lots more games in your library.
More, especially now during the Christmas. There will be a lot more. So stay tuned and see you next time. Bye.